Okay, so this one's a bit of an explanation on the Dear Judicial Officer letter. Just letting people know, aside from just thinking it's only for anyone who works within the court system, so your classic judges, magistrates, court clerks, registrars, you can also use this letter for someone in legal aid, anyone who's a solicitor, lawyer, barrister, or any other kind of legal counsel. You can also use it for that purpose. So here's the usual, just name and your details, the recipient's name. So let's say it's a registrar from the local court. You're just going to put their name and then the job title, which is registrar. So let's say it's the Magistrates Court of Victoria that you're sending it to. Then if it's a suburb of that or a town, and we're going to just use Heidelberg for example, you put Heidelberg Magistrates Court underneath that. And then obviously the rest is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously the mailing date, and again recipient's name, and you can change it back to black. I showed you that. Hopefully you saw the police letter that I explained, so it's got that in there if you want to see how to change it back to black once it's done. Just want to read a few paragraphs out of here. So I'm going to go into this one just to give you some idea about what there is to understand. Furthermore, when a monarch swears to uphold the laws of God, they are pledging to adhere to the injunctions outlined in the foundational books of the Bible. These injunctions encompass the prohibition, should I say, of man-made legislation to trespass on individual rights, the sole judgment of one individual by another, and the practice of usury. Therefore, if a monarch allows the continuation of legislation that enforces immoral mandates on people, permits one person to pass judgment on another, and what do they do in magistrates' courts? Pretty obvious, or tolerates usury within their realms, they are in fact violating their oath. In such instances, the people have the right to assert that the monarch has breached their sworn commitment unless the monarch takes decisive action to correct the aforementioned violations. So there's just a little bit of understanding how the true system of service is supposed to work, and that's that standard that they are supposed to be held to. So you're just reinforming them of just how far from that standard they are. Then I wanted to go talk about something that happens quite often. I think I missed it. It's this bit about Australian law. You'll hear this often in their fake courts. They'll say that we operate under Australian law. So this is how you deal with that. To claim that you are fulfilling your obligations under Australian law, you must prove the source of authority from which it is derived. However, no judicial officer, whether titled magistrate, registrar, or court clerk. So you could also, if you're going to target this at legal aid or the legal profession, barristers, lawyers, etc., you could throw in, this is where you throw in no lawyer or no barrister or no legal counsel. You could throw that in here if you're targeting them. Has established this with any substantial evidence. The fact that public property is referred to as Crown land and all public servants are required to take an oath of allegiance to the most senior public servant who is bound by the constraints of English common law, which is another term for those legum terri, which explicitly excludes statutes, laws, regulations made by the government, and judges' precedents, case law, that's Latin now, stare decisis, serves as verifiable evidence that Australian law is at best a counterfeit of Commonwealth law. So what you're doing is you're just debunking the whole thing. You're explaining why it's a fraud, and now it's up to them to prove it's not, right? Which they can't do. So you're just taking away all that ammunition that they use day to day to try and fool people into believing they have authority over them. So just wanted to go quickly over that. I don't want to go too much more into it. And just at the end, what I did want to show you is you'll see stars like here. See that star there? Right, you'll see a double star. In other places you'll see a single star, just like here. Okay, so that's all because there's a reference at the bottom. See, you've got your single star and your double star. And so that shows you where those references are coming from. So it's just got even more weight there. The other thing is, as you can see here, it's the same as all the other ones. You're giving them time to, 10 days here. And then the terms, it's the same as all the others. So then they need to respond. And so just understand that this is just about launching into something where you want to do something, where you're standing for truth, but you're not ready to commit into like a notice process, for example. This is a great place to start. Then if you have committed into a notice process, this is also an opportunity to start adding more weight to that. You can either send it as a standalone as part of another letter that you send after your notice process or during, or you can take aspects of it and include it into something like a cover letter that goes with your notices. So there's multiple applications for this, guys. So that should do it for this one.